trial lawyer turned stand-up comedian and Baptist minister. Just what you thought when you saw me, right? Wait, it gets better. I also ride a Harley Davidson. Yes, yes. Every year, my husband and I take a 2-week cross-country motorcycle trip. And in fact, a couple of years ago, we were actually turned away from a motel in Montana because they thought we were Hell's Angels. I'm so proud of that. That's so great, right? I mean, okay, we were looking a little sketchy. You know, here I am in my biker leathers and my fake tattoos, what most clergy wear on vacation, you know. But because of how we looked, the desk clerk turned us away. I mean, I should have known better. The name of the motel was the Sea and Sand, which in Montana is suspect, you know? But nonetheless, we went next door to the biker-friendly Days Inn, freshened up, I put on a clean Harley t-shirt, and then decided to take my business card, Reverend Susan Sparks, to my new friend at the Sea and Sand. So I walk over there, put the card on the desk, and I'm like, you know, Bible says judge not. Well, here's the kicker. As I'm walking out the door, she bursts out laughing and says, I guess there's a little Hell's Angel in all of us. It's so great. I mean, the bottom line is we judge each other by the dumbest things. Things like where someone's from, or what they look like, or what kind of biker leathers and fake tattoos they're wearing. Things that have absolutely nothing to do with who we are as people. I mean, at least we could take the biker leathers off. But so many are judged for things they can't take off. Things like race, nationality, gender, even religion. Let me share with you what I have learned in 15 years as an ordained minister and a professional stand-up comedian. You ready? Laughter is the key to world peace. And no, that's not a punchline. Because when human beings, when we look at each other, we tend to see the differences first. And laughter reverses that formula. It's like when we laugh together, we share something. Like a big spotlight comes down on our commonalities we may not have seen before. And in that moment, something shifts beneath the surface. And we begin to go from judgment to forgiveness, from hatred to understanding, from despair to hope. I mean, given the headlines and the papers, can you imagine a message the world needs more? One of my greatest joys is being part of the Laugh in Peace comedy tour, starring me, a Baptist, a stand-up rabbi, and a Muslim comic. Yeah. In our show, Rabbi Bob Alper, for example, talks about studying in Israel after seminary. Eager to try out his biblical Hebrew, he gets in a cab and says to the driver in Hebrew what he thinks is "let me out here." The driver bursts out laughing and explains what Bob had said was, "Behold, here I descend." I talk about the oftentimes narrow worldview of Christians, including my people, the Baptists. For example, Southern Baptists, they can toe a pretty hard line, but their theology is always short and sweet, like their idea of heaven. You ain't Southern Baptist, you ain't coming. You know, that's a lot of people not coming. It's like 6.5 billion people not coming. You know, if you look at a world map, that's like every landmass on the face of the globe not coming, except Texas and Alabama. And then Azhar Usman, our Muslim comic, loves to riff on what it's like to be a Muslim in America, especially going through airports. He says to our audience, "I don't get why you're so upset that you have to be there 2 weeks ahead of time. I have to be there 2 months ahead of time. Our audiences, which span everything from yarmulkes and burqas to Easter hats, gets a rare visual. Jewish, Christian, Muslim, standing together, not hating, not judging, but laughing in solidarity. And it's then our worlds, ours and our audiences, overlaps for a tiny but significant moment, and we lock into our common humanity. It's no wonder that Georgetown University's conflict resolution program has identified humor as playing a significant role in peace building. I mean, why not? Genetic studies show that notwithstanding things like nationality or race or gender, we as human beings are 99.99% genetically the same. I mean, think about that. I mean, that means all of the hatred and judgment and even war is over 0.01%. I mean, that's so crazy. Why would anybody fight over a teeny tiny decimal point? I mean, it's like my Southern grandmother used to say, honey, I think the butter has slipped off their biscuit. Let me share with you an example of what might happen if we would focus on the commonalities first. It happened in one of our Laugh and Peace college shows. It was sponsored by the Muslim Student Association and the Jewish Student Association. And backstage, before the show, we heard the presidents of each organization busily talking about where they were going for dinner. Later, they told us that even though their offices were right next to each other in the student union, before the show, they had never spoken. And now they're friends, hanging out. Look, bottom line, you cannot hate each other if you laugh together. You just can't. I mean, are we going to change the world overnight with laughter? No. But we are going to start a ripple effect where we change how we see each other and eventually change the world. But that change has to start here. With each one of us, we have to be the first to make the move. It's like a parade that I saw last year in the Midwest. It was called the Stand Still Parade. Why? Because all of the floats and bands and Shriners were stationary, parked along the road. It was the crowd that marched by. Well, like that standstill parade, we can no longer afford to just stand still and watch judgment and hatred march by. It's our time to move. It's our time to get up and march past that 0.01%. It's our time to engage the world with a fresh new lens. I mean, it's like a billboard my husband and I saw on our latest motorcycle trip. At the top, it said, Minnesota Cremation Society. Underneath that was a photograph of a casket, and underneath that it said, think outside the box. That's what I'm talking about. I want laughter to help us live the words of that sign. I want laughter to help us come at the world in a fresh, new way. I want laughter to help us see the commonalities first. Our homework? I want each and every one of us to leave here today and start to bring laughter into every aspect of our lives, into our workplaces, our boardrooms, our courtrooms, our hospitals, our jails, our schools, our houses of worship, our families. Bring humor into all aspects of your life so that together we can laugh our way to world peace, one joke at a time. Thank you.